we have a mic though?
I got the thumbs up, like, unless you need a status.
I'm trying to make this happen.
Does he plug it in out there?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he plugs it in that outlet on the side.
Once again, I'm the king of empty promises.
Right?
Check, mic check, mic check. What's up, Sunday morning? Becca's back, everybody. Give her a hand. I came home on a Sunday evening. I was staying for the weekend with my college sweetheart. And when I came home, both my parents were in our living room, and the TV was off. And I went, uh-oh. You see, my parents have what I call an upstairs-downstairs relationship. My dad watches TV downstairs, he watches sports in the basement, and my mom watches, well, who the hell knows what she watches, upstairs in the living room. So when I came home and I saw them both with the TV off, I knew something was wrong. And I forget which one of them, but one of them said to me, "Your cousin Mark is sick." Now, I wasn't close to my cousin Mark because he grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. If I'm right, Mark was about 8 years older than me. And what I knew of Mark was he was a handsome guy, very well-dressed, polite. And I really liked Mark's style because I saw him only the family holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And he would bring a woman to the family meal, but it wouldn't be his girlfriend. And I thought, this guy's genius. He brings a woman over to show her, you know, he cares about her. But at the same time, he doesn't make the commitment saying, "You're my girlfriend." Then I heard, Mark has AIDS. AIDS. This was 1995. I didn't know anybody that had HIV or AIDS. I remember President Clinton saying, everybody knows somebody that has AIDS because I remember on The Real World, Pedro had AIDS. And I remember that he passed away within a year of announcing that. But at the same time, Magic Johnson, who said he had HIV, seemed to be doing well. Mark's dying. And Mark is gay. Gay? Somebody in my own family? I didn't know anybody that was homosexual, let alone somebody in my own family. And I remember was having a discussion with my family, and I remember my dad saying, "Why didn't Mark get help?" And I remember saying, "Dad, homosexuality isn't a disease. It's something that you are." Now, looking back, I probably didn't know people that were homosexual, but at the time, they hadn't come out. Mark's parents is my Uncle Don and my aunt, or as we say, Southside Chicago, Aunt Joyce, came in to stay with us. They had gone to the hospital in the morning, and I remember they came home, we were having dinner. And I remember the TV was on, and I remember my sister, the phone rang, and it was the hospital. And I remember my sister turning the TV volume down. And we all stared at Joyce as she was on the phone, saying things like, "Yes, okay, I understand, thank you." She hung up the phone, and she burst into tears. Mark's condition was worsening. And we all looked at her with our hearts broken, knowing how horrible it is to have this situation for any mother and father, let alone a son who I believe at the time was 30 or 31 years old. A few days later, Mark passed away. And from what I understand, he passed away from the pneumonia brought on by the HIV. And his parents made the decision to have a closed casket funeral because apparently the HIV had taken such a hold of Mark's body that his internal organs started to liquefy. As sad as this is, I think the saddest thing happened the day of the funeral that I found out. Mark's grandparents didn't come to the funeral. They lived in northwest Indiana, probably an hour drive away. But they decided not to come because Mark was a sinner. You see, according to their Bible, their scripture, Mark had done wrong. And when I found that out, that really made my heart break. My cousin's grandparents, who adored him, would not come to his own funeral. After Mark passed away, since he moved to the city of Chicago on the north side, since we were the same height and weight, I got all Mark's stuff, clothes and everything, which was great because I had a whole new cool wardrobe. But at the same time, I also, every time, this sounds weird, but every time I would have like his jeans or sweater, I always felt Mark's presence with me. And here we are today, 19 years later, and when I hear things on the news about voting on gay marriage, or advancements in medicine about HIV, or a politician in Niles, Illinois saying that our recent weather is because God is angry about gay marriage. Not a child going hungry at night, not a war, not anybody not having a home to go to, but gay marriage. It's been 19 years later, and I still think of my cousin Mark Thomas. Thank you.
Keep it going for David, everybody.